fancy anything. It's just three septuagenarians laying down some serious rock and roll and rhythm and blues.
Hey, I'm Kathy Rankin. I have a new single out called Now You've Gone, and you are on All Over the Place, where the fun sanity never ends.
Hello and welcome back to All Over the Place. I'm your host, Eric Porvoznik, ready to give some shout outs after I give grateful thanks to everyone. We are continuing to boom in 2025 thanks to you. Thank you so much for subscribing, liking, sharing. We are taking off, folks, and I could not be more grateful. Thank you so much. And part of the team I am also grateful for, Mr. Marty Zamora. Welcome in, my man.
Hello.
And very quickly, before we get to our guests, I have to give the shout out here. My prize came in from Dan Schinder and the fine folks over at Drum Talk TV. I won this, Marty, knowing information about your old scene there on the Sunset Strip with the hair metal section. I won this. So Got Groove, Dan Schinder, and everybody over at Drum Talk TV. Thank you so much for letting us compete on that show. And folks, don't forget to go to Drum Talk TV. Wait a minute, I should remember this. Just go to Drum Talk TV and you'll find out how to get on as a subscriber there to get all the extra bonus stuff, bonus footage, bonus interviews, and you can get to compete and win cool prizes like this too. So head on over to Drum Talk TV. I remembered what it is. DrumTalkTVBrilliance.com and become a member over there. And Dan and his team, they'll take care of you when you win the contest. And I just also want to say how happy we are that we have got a very cool guest with us today, coming over from Earshot Media. And he's got a new album out. It's called Straight Up. And I want to introduce to All Over the Place, Jamie James. Thanks for joining us today, Jamie.
Oh, it's my pleasure. It's nice.
Welcome.
Thank you very much. Nice to be here.
And Jamie is a cool blues, jump, and everything kind of guitar. So Marty's got his guitar there in the background. And, Jamie, you've got this new album, Straight Up, out. And, what's the inspiration behind it? And what also is the inspiration behind the title, Straight Up? And bear in mind that a blues guitarist is with us. So there might be a little something extra special in my drink today.
Well, the inspiration really is and has always been, first and foremost, my love for music, and then secondly, my insane obsession with guitar. I'm a guitar nut. I've been a guitar nut since the 1960s. I love everything and anything guitar and all kinds of music. And, you can categorize it or not, but if there's a guitar involved, I'm probably going to listen very closely and enjoy it. I as far as this, most of the 2000s, Tom Walsh, the drummer that's on this, and Ken Stange, the keyboard player, and Tom Mancias, the bass player, and I backed up the wonderful actor and wonderful musician songwriter Dennis Quaid. And what happened is around just before 2020, in 2020, I personally had to have a last minute open heart surgery, a quadruple bypass that saved my life. And then COVID hit. So I was kind of locked down, recovering from this surgery and also COVID. And so I got very serious. And I remember when I was being wheeled in for the surgery, I said, God, because I'm one of those, I don't pray until I'm really like between a rock and a hard place sometimes. And anyway, I said, God, you get me through this for my daughter and my family. And I promise you, I'll use any little scrap of talent that you gave me and as much elbow grease as I can muster. And I'll get right back to my first love, which I feel has always been my purpose. And that's to write songs to share with people. And I got through it. And as soon as I was strong enough to pick up a guitar, I just started, just kind of like grooving and focusing on writing songs and coming up with ideas and wherever the ideas come from, and focused on it and focused on playing harmonica on a harmonica rack so that I could play my guitar and have a harmonica for a little bit of a melodic, soloing. And, a bunch of the songs just started happening over the next couple of years. I think I wrote about 32 some odd songs. and it was tough choosing which first 10 to record, but these are the 10 that I came up with, and those same guys that I played with all those years backing up Dennis are on this record, and I'm very, very, very blessed and fortunate to have these guys playing my songs. It's a dream come true.
And I love the fact that it's 10 songs, 40-ish minutes, old school in it. And what is it? All of us here, we are of a generation or generations who listen to albums. And
Yes.
It was 10 songs, you flip it to 5, 6, whatever. So what was it? Do you go into the songwriting process, or when you're mixing and sequencing, do you just get that 10 song mindset?
Yes,
local?
that's the only way that I know how to do it. And that's exactly right. And I had been out of the recording and songwriting business for many, many decades. In fact, this record was released on March 15th of this year, just last month. And my group, the King Bees on RSO Records, released our first album on March 15th of 1980. And that also was a 10-song album. And I just felt it was kind of reminiscent. And that's kind of that's kind of a nice balance, 5 songs per side. And, you can arrange them in a way that there's some energy and then you slow it down. You know what I mean? It's like, for me, it just makes sense to do that. Yeah.
I definitely appreciate that, being an album guy. I'm surrounded by a few slabs of vinyl over here. And of course, I don't remember where I read it, but I read that the reason things were at 10 songs, because that's when, after that, if it was more than 10 songs, that's where the publishers came in and started taking more money from the artists. So I was thought that was a nice FU, just put it at 10.
I don't know about that. I think the publishers come in and start taking money from one song, right? For song one. So
fair enough, but those bigger percentages come a little bit later. Yeah. And of course, you mentioned the guitar and your lifelong love affair with the guitar. Just what is it, in your opinion, that fans of music and most certainly rock and roll draws us to the guitar?
It's a form of expression that allows the guitar player to kind of reveal this innermost unbridled passion. It's a view into something that normally that particular person wouldn't be displaying. It's whether it's Jimi Hendrix or Burt Gentz or Kenny Burrell or Freddie King. You get to it's a kind of it appeals to something that people, I think, connect to, that they're witnessing this expression that I think we all have maybe sometimes a need to engage in, perhaps.
And Marty, I'm going to throw it over to you as a guitarist, as someone certainly far more skilled than I knew that was coming. So someone far more skilled than I.
Okay.
So, I'm going to let you two guitar lovers have at it for a little bit here.
Well, one thing that jumped out at me, I had heard the song before, but your first hit, it had to be.
You're talking about My Mistake?
Yes, in the 60s.
Yeah, My Mistake was 1980. Yeah.
My Mistake.
Wait.
So,
did you say my first guitar or first song?
No, your first hit. So, yeah, with the King Bees.
Yeah, that was 1980.
Wow. So very, very already a throwback sound at the beginning. But what I noticed about it is that is not just your typical strum along kind of song. Like I went back and watched a video of you playing, and I picked up the guitar to try and. So any good guitarist can play it, but it's not just strum some chords and sing. You are working the whole song through.
Correct.
And a lot of pinky action going on there, and it wore me out in about 20 seconds.
Yeah, no. Well, the first thing is I was playing my beloved, which I don't have anymore. A fellow back in New England owns it now, but I had a 1957 Stratocaster and a 1959 410 Fender Bassman Tweed amp, and no pedals, nothing, just a guitar cord plugged right into the amp to get the purest tone possible. And yes, and so with that riff, da 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 da, that's a lot of pinky action, da 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 da. And but Michael and Rex and Michael Rumman's the bass player, the King Bees, and Rex Roberts the drummer, original bass player and drummer. We met. Now keep in mind, we rehearsed for about 10 months before we even did a show in Los Angeles. We rehearsed that whole winter of 78 going into 79, because I had never sang in front of an audience before, played a lot of guitar in front of audiences, but never as a singer. And so I had to practice over and over, coordinating, being able to play that riff and sing and everything. And once I felt comfortable, then we did our first show in May of 1979 over at the Troubadour on Santa Monica Boulevard.
Wow, that's a great spot. I love the Troubadour. It's one of my favorite places to go see gigs when I was young.
Yeah, great place for guitar tone too. All that wood in there, man. It's,
yeah,
it's awesome.
It's fantastic. And by the way, on your singing, especially the single here, your singing reminds me of a kind of a mixture between Greg Allman and maybe you've heard of him, Carlos Guitarlos.
Yeah, no, now I don't remember the way Carlos sang, but I remember he was always around the scene in the 70s. We kind of lived in the same neighborhood over there. I lived in Holly Drive, just in the foothills, the Hollywood Hills. Carlos was kind of always around. He was a very good guitar player. He used to always give me a hard time, though, that guy, man. I don't know why. I have no idea. And but there was great. I loved his guitar playing. There was guys around then like Carlos and Hollywood Fats, who was another wonderful guitar player, but he died young, unfortunately. But man, that cat could play. And so there were some guitar players around that were still like me, kind of a crossover between, like I loved like Hendrix and Ritchie Blackmore, but I also loved the Beatles, and I loved the Stones, and I loved Buddy Holly, and I loved Eddie Cochran, and just the guitar nuts, right? And so Carlos and I had that in common, but I don't think I ever heard him sing, actually.
Yeah, well, he's a raspier version of you, I'd say. A little dirtier.
I always liked Carlos, but I heard he's no longer with us, and that's kind of unfortunate. But
yeah.
And Jamie, you mentioned playing with Dennis Quaid and the Sharks, and you also played with another actor for many years. You collaborated with Harry Dean Stanton, which right. I don't have many regrets in life, but one of them is all my years in LA, I never went down to any of the bars where Harry Dean, because I'm a harmonica. I play harmonica a little bit better than I play guitar, which is you set the bar kind of low with that one. But what was it like playing with a guy who was just, you want to talk about a cool cat. What was it like playing with Harry Dean?
When I first met Harry, I had no idea who he was. I really thought my girlfriend's father at the time was having him over for July 4th. It was on July 4th, and somewhere in the 80s, maybe 87 or 88, or maybe 86. I don't remember now. But anyway, for a family kind of barbecue. So I sat down beside this disheveled guy, and there was a guitar there. I started strumming it a little bit, and he told me, yeah, I play and sing a little bit. I said, okay, cool. And then I looked at him and I said, hey, listen, Harry, we were introduced and everything, and I was hanging out with him. I felt kind of sorry for him, and I said, by the way, I said, I didn't know that the buses in LA ran on July 4th. So they really do run on July 4th, huh? And he thought that was the funniest thing, because I thought he must have taken a bus to get over there to a fancy neighborhood like Brentwood, from where he was coming from down on Skid Row, And so that's how we met. He thought that was very funny, and I think he liked the fact that I had no idea who he was. and he you know, he sang a little bit, and he gave me his phone number, and I called him, and I used to go over, and we just used to sit around with our acoustic guitars, and I started to realize, man, this guy is real. This guy can really sing. He knows a lot of stuff, like he's stuff from the 1920s and 30s. He knew a lot of hillbilly songs that I'd never heard before. He knew a lot of, you know, some great Mexican songs. You know, he turned me on to Vicente Fernandez, and we'd sit and listen to these great mariachi, and he'd take me downtown, and we go watch mariachi bands. And so I learned so much from Harry, man, and I love him. And I tell you what, I miss him every day. And if you look at that video that's on YouTube now of "Let the Praying Begin" from the Straight Up album, you will see the harmonica I'm playing is one of Harry's old harmonicas. I try to keep him a part of me to this day because I loved him like a father. I really did.
Wow, that is so cool. Little tidbit of knowledge there. I love hearing that. That is amazing. So you get keeping the Harry Dean Stanton legacy alive. Very, very cool.
Absolutely.
And more with Straight Up. I just got to say, I love music from across all different genres, and the blues. You know, you get into it. I've always thought that, you know, people sing the blues to tell you, you know, how much worse someone's got it off than you do, so you feel a little bit better. But this album is a blues. It's a jump. It's got there's the showbiz boogie, of course. This is the most rollicking album of the year. It's the best word I could use to describe Straight Up is rollicking. What feeds into that? Just this happy bouncing around. Is it the piano, which is hard to not have fun with? Is it the harmonica? Just what is it that goes into inspiring you to make such rollicking music?
You know, it begins first off. It begins with financial destitute. I didn't have very much money to spend on recording, so we went in, and the thing is, we'd played together a lot, and I said to the guys, you know, here's the songs, and they liked the songs. We rehearsed them a couple of times at the drummer's house out in Woodland Hills, and I said, we got one shot to come in here, so we went in and set up and played like a live concert one afternoon, laid it down. All those vocal tracks in there, they're my original lead vocal tracks from that. They're what you would call scratch tracks from that day. I did replace a couple harmonica parts because on the rack I couldn't get the tone that I wanted. So I went back in the next day and I redid a couple harmonica things. I added a couple of little vocal harmonies and an electric guitar in a couple places, and that was it. Is that I didn't have, you know, more finances to do that. So when we went in to record that first afternoon, it was just Tom, the drummer, and Tom, the bass player, and myself. Ken was on the road at that time with Paul Anka, the keyboard player. We had to send him the tracks later, but we laid it down and we just rocked. And we were so pent up because we hadn't done a show with Dennis since October of 2023 when we played Green Hall just south of Austin, Texas, there for a benefit. And so I think we just exploded in the studio, and I knew it was magical because we'd played together so much. I knew we could always get by on our talent, but I could always tell when it was a happening, when things were on fire. And we had a great afternoon that day, and it just so happened, you know, all the times that you go, oh, I wish the recording we recorded that, but that day we were recording, and we were recording in a great little studio called Robot Kitten in downtown LA. With a great engineer named Paul Rossler, and it was magical, and that's what you hear here, and that's the truth of the matter. It's there's no fancy anything. It's just three septuagenarians laying down some serious rock and roll and rhythm and blues.
Yeah, it definitely comes across, and I just assumed it was done all in one room. You guys playing together, but yes. I never guessed that was kind of onesie twosie takes. Like you just laid it down and there it was.
That's exactly right, man. And that's why I called the album Straight Up, because that's what it is. There's not a dishonest note on that record. And and to me, that's the real magic, you know. That's the real magic.
It comes through.
Oh, thank you guys. That makes, you know, this is just like you know how in Los Angeles it's hard to get anybody to return your phone call. You say your name and say, hey, I got some music. Nobody calls you back. You know what I mean? And for this music, for Carl Capriolio at Oleo Records to call me back and show his enthusiasm and show that he really got it, because he's been around LA for a long time, and he knew, and he realized, this was a right straight from the hip, and he's been behind it, and now it's out there. And I mean, I did a podcast with a guy in India, and he was talking the same as you guys are about this being a great, like a live record and stuff, and another guy in London, England, and you know what I mean? It's like, and for me, like I'm just an old guy that hangs out at home watching reruns on MeTV. This is incredible.
Well, so on that note, I noticed I listened to your album about a third of it last night and the rest this morning, and there is a definite theme with the majority of these songs. You know what that is?
What's that?
Did you catch it? Most of them are about women or about breakups. Or there's a lot. I mean,
come on, man. What else do I know? I grew up playing electric guitar in the 70s. You know what I mean? It's like that was, but I don't, I can't even get started on that, But yeah, that's what I know. You're right about what you know, and heartbreak and falling in love and inspiration and then disappointment and those are the things that I know. I can't pretend to write anything else. It wouldn't be authentic, and I'm just talented enough to be an inauthentic writer that just kind of creates stuff on demand. Yes, we need this kind of song. Okay, I'll deliver it. Now I don't have that kind of talent.
Yeah. Well, and the Showbiz Boogie is fantastic. That was my favorite track.
Thank you very much. That's about old guys like me still hanging around in Hollywood, man. I'm waiting to be big. I'm going to be big, guys. Believe me. I don't worry about it. I'm hanging in there.
Well, that's 2 votes for Showbiz Boogie, but yeah, with me, you throw and here's that word again. You throw a rollicking piano in there.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, it's dug that. And another song on the album I liked quite a bit was the Septuagenarian Blues. And again, you write from what you know, and just how much fun was it writing that song?
It was like the way it just started coming out of me, because I did give up drinking alcohol when I was around 33, 34 years old, and I haven't had a drop since. Thank you very much. 39 years. And I did, and then I never gambled like in Las Vegas, but I gambled on a lot of relationships, so I stopped. And when you meet somebody and then you quit your dogging around, hopefully, which I did. And and then of course this, like the second was saying, I visit my doctor nearly twice a week. Well, it's not that much, but since my surgery, this song I wrote post-surgery. So I have spent a lot of time at the doctors, you know what I mean? You do after you've had open heart surgery. That's just the way it goes. The last verse, I'm way past thinking about the birds and the bees. I don't want to disappoint you guys, but that happens. And, just skipping and playing and climbing up trees, those are all fond memories now. So yes, it is autobiographical.
Are you saying that the follies of youth will eventually pass away? I don't want to buy that, mister. I don't want to buy it.
Hey.
Sorry.
Denial. I'm going to deny it to the end.
I'll tell you what.
I'm in my mid 50s still, so I can still have a little bit of braggadocio about what is eventually going to happen. I know.
Get out there, dude. 50s is a great time to be. But I will say this: even that couple seconds I picked up the guitar a few minutes ago when we were horsing around with trying to get, the phone or the thing. The guitar, I always feel again like a 13-year-old, and I kid you not, man. I have the same enthusiasm. I want to learn. You can learn as a guitar player. You can learn from everybody. You can learn things every day. It's just that's a wonderful thing in my life.
Well, the last line, I mean, there's verses, of course, but the last line in Septuagenarian Blues is "Wait till I'm 80." It's kind of whispered. So I'm hoping, in the next batch of 10 songs, you're going to have like either octogenarian groove or octogenarian FU. I think I would love to hear that one.
I'll work on that. There's no doubt about it.
So are we going to be able to see you outperforming any of these songs live?
I hope so, man. I'd love to. I mean, it's a little bit about any kind of demand, and everything's changed nowadays. You know, everybody wants you to be able to sell a certain amount of tickets, and like I said, I'm internationally unknown and nationally ignored. So, but I'd like to. If not, just call me. I'll play it for you on FaceTime here at home.
Well, on that note, I mean, the social media has, I don't want to say it's made touring obsolete, because live music will always be essential in my life. And I think anyone who loves music, I think live music is essential. But, social media, whether it's YouTube or X or Facebook, everything just makes the local scene global. So, and you mentioned people in India that you've spoken with, in London. So what is it like being able to just sit in LA and yet reach people all over the world?
That's been like it was I would it's similar to the very first time I ever went to Disneyland down in Orange County. It's magical. It's unbelievable. It's just I hang up the phone. And actually, when I got off the phone with the young man, off the Zoom thing with the young man in India, I had tears in my eyes because I couldn't believe what had just happened. And so for me, a guy that I don't know, lives a pretty quiet, simple life. It was beyond thrilling. I that's all I can really say. It was, and I would love to get out, because I've made a commitment that I'm going to go wherever these songs take me. And so as long as I can get up and walk and move and sing and play the guitar, I'm going to go wherever I can to share these songs with people. Just the way that people made my life so wonderful. The first time I saw, Tommy James and the Shondells, or Deep Purple in 1968, or Sly and the Family Stone in 1969, Johnny Winter in 1969, Beck Bogart and Appice, Jeff Beck in 1970, seeing Queen in 1971 in London, England, at the Marquee, when they were just starting out and nobody even knew who they were, and so many bands, seeing Yes at the Crystal Palace in 1972, when they were just coming into their prime, and so seeing Bob Marley at the Roxy in 1975, which was right after seeing the Rolling Stones that night at the Forum, and then my friend and I hightailed it over to the Roxy and got in to see Bob Marley, and those kind of things make me want to do the same for people. I'll never reach that level, but if I can, bring any kind of joy to people, that's really why I go into and write these songs and record them and sing them. And you guys are. I'm glad you're saying, yeah, we enjoyed this, because that's my reward right there. Because I'm telling you, these days, guys like me, we don't make any money in music anymore. There's no way you can make money anymore. You know what I mean? It's you have to be just a mega superstar, But it doesn't matter, because the satisfaction is getting the music, keeping the legacy of real, true, honest, down to earth, authentic rock and roll and rhythm and blues alive, man, so that it never dies. That magical live, the thing that happens between an audience and an artist that you can't duplicate on YouTube.
Amen to that. And
I agree with it.
Like we talked about earlier, though, like I think anyone who loves guitar, who loves rhythm and blues, rock and roll, it's always going to be around. And so, I mean, all those artists you mentioned, I put this back over my shoulder on purpose, because the Black Crowes are still bringing it like they did back in the 90s and early 2000s.
Yeah.
And I got to mention this guy, Steve Hill, for a guest on the show. This guy, check him out, a Canadian one-man band.
I will.
Plays the blues like nobody's business. And so it's just like, it's our great uniter, and which was, of course, the impetus for a lot of this show in general. But just thank you for giving us, I'm going to say it again, a rollicking, phenomenal album, just to sit back, kick the feet up, put a little liquor in your cup, as Mr. Mars might sing, and just kick back and enjoy music, man. Just enjoy it.
Yeah, that's right. I like it. Amen to that. Yes, sir.
And I think it's important also that you're still doing this, and because less and less people are. The further along we get, I mean, I'm late 50s, and it's not too far behind me where, music is made completely different now. It's not the same. You're not playing an instrument, and this can be exposed in a smaller venue to maybe potentially people in their 30s. You know, some guys going, wow, this is great. And it keeps the ball rolling. And I know, you know, music is different now. It's made much different now.
Yeah, it is. And I don't know. I'm really looking forward to getting back in with the fellows, hopefully in July, and recording the next 10 songs. I didn't put much guitar on this album. I did go in and put a few kind of bluesy licks at the end of a couple of songs, Keep on Rocking and Get a Hold of Myself. And I took in my old 1966 Trini Lopez, you know, it's like a Gibson 335, but it was a Trini Lopez model. Guys might be too young to know who Trini Lopez was, but he was a wonderful instrumental guitarist. And they also sang some songs as well. And the Gibson had a model after him. But on this next record, I'm going to definitely do some have more guitar work on it for sure.
Excellent.
Well, definitely look forward to having you on for that album when that one's out. But folks, for right now, be sure you check out Jamie James. The album is straight up, all of the audio streaming services, and be sure to check him out over at YouTube. The single is up there, the video, him playing the harmonica. Let me rephrase that: playing Harry Dean Stanton's harmonica in that video, and the King Bees. And just be sure you check out Jamie James over at YouTube. And Jamie, thank you so much for spending time with us here on All Over the Place. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much.
My pleasure, guys. Thank you very much. Have a great day.
Straight up, folks, from here at All Over the Place, Marty, thanks for being here. As always, we'll be back real soon on All Over the Place. Till then, take care.